Uh, Good morning and good afternoon. This is Dong-eun Lee, working in Scientific Support Branch. I'm going to briefly introduce the overall features of the new electronic reporting system for the Stockholm Convention. So, this information provided in the national reports is one of the main references to be used for the evaluation of the effectiveness of the convention. And from the Article 15 of the Convention, parties should submit their national reports every 4 years by the first COP. And from the sixth COP, parties ask the Secretariat to update the format of the national report to include new POPs. And the Secretariat was also requested to develop an enhanced version of the electronic system for reporting and to update of the questionnaires for the second round of reporting, considering the efficiency of the convention. In response to the request, the Secretariat has made some efforts to improve the user-friendly system by adding some features for the convenience of the users. And for submission, each party has been requested to submit its third national report to the Secretariat by 31st of August 2014, and the official contact points is responsible to submit their report. To access the link, here is the screenshot of our website. So if you enter to this address, you will find the reporting page, which is linked to the reporting system. Or if you are official contact points, you might have a direct link in the email from the Secretariat. The current system has been launched in 3 UN languages, English, French, and Spanish. Also, currently, we are in the process of other UN languages, Chinese, Russian, and Arabic. The official contact points of each party are supposed to have received 2 individual sets of login accounts for both the official contact points and technical officials. And the login accounts consist of a username and a password. And the 2 accounts have different authorities. The official contact points are provided with an administrative account that also covers technical privilege, and the account enables the OCP to fill out the questionnaire and submit the report. And for the account of technical officers, they can only provide or modify the information to be submitted, but it doesn't allow the submission of the report. And if you log in, this will lead you to the first page of the questionnaire. This is the first page of the system, and the questionnaire is subdivided into 5 parts from Part A to Part E. This is the basic interface for the overall system. Top toolbar, we have top toolbar and main working area and side toolbar. So on this screen, you can see the top toolbar on the top of the page that allow you to move to the next page or to save the changes and to check for the basic errors. And for the side toolbar, you can also move to other pages and other parts using this toolbar while you are working on the report. Other features added to this system is a basic error checking function in every pages. So when you click the Check for Errors button, the system will provide you with a warning and indicate the question you left unanswered and blank. And the warning is information only, so it does not prohibit you to proceed to the other page or even submit the report. And every question which mentioned the article contains the links. When you click the linked text, as you can see, reference to a part of the convention shows in a pop window, which displays the specific provision or article of the convention. So on this slide, you will see a link to a specific reference related to a question. And this system has also different formats of questions and answers. Uh, so on this slide, you will see that some questions provide you with one or more options to answer. And if you click one of the answers, it may trigger another question. For example, when you selected yes for this question, another question pops up and parties are requested to provide more specific information or data. In addition, we have migrated all data from previously submitted reports by the parties. So therefore, official contact points do not need to enter the same data again in this system, and they will see the last submitted data in the system. So if there's any changes for the information, you can change or you can add it, and for the data which is not valid, you can delete it. So first, you may have to review pre-filled data and check if it is still valid, and then you may edit the existing data and or include new one. So in part B, there are many questions. So for asking detailed questions further, it is subdivided into 11 sections. So it is quite different from the second round reporting. So we divide it into many parts according to the material itself. So for more detail in part B, Katarina will introduce you how to report the information on unintentional props under Annex C.
Now I'm going to move the floor to Ms. Katrina. Katrina, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Now I will give you a short presentation about some specific aspects of reporting releases of unintentional POPs in the new reporting format. How do I move it? Sorry, I seem to have some technical problems. That's not convenient. That's not convenient. I can't work like this. One of the major things which you might notice that has changed is that we use a slightly different terminology. One of the reasons why this happened is that, as you may know, the toolkit to develop inventories of dioxins and furans has been revised and updated. And the new version of the toolkit also made some changes to the terminology so that we are now using throughout the convention related aspects the same terminology. I will explain in more details what do we mean by reference here, and also what do we mean by revision and updating of source inventories and release estimates. Another very important aspect of reporting of this under this third reporting round is that for the first time we have enabled also reporting changes in levels or in concentrations or in information over time. So therefore we might be able to see some trends in releases over time. This brings another complication or another request, and this is mainly to maintain inventories that are coherent over time. And of course, reporting needs to be consistent over the time as well. Another new feature of reporting under Article 15 and reporting releases of unintentional POPs is that we are allowing also reporting of other than releases of other POPs other than dioxins and furans. In my next slide, I will give you more details on these aspects. So with regards to the terminology, we are talking now about Part B of Section 4 of the reporting format, which is which is relevant to issues of unintentional POPs. You will see the term baseline inventory. This is a new term, and it means basically the first inventory of sources and releases of chemicals listed in Annex C. Usually this has been done as part of the National Implementation Plan. This first inventory serves as a baseline against which subsequent updated release estimates are assessed in order to establish trends in releases over time. Another new term is reference year. This is also a very important term, and it's important that it's understood in the same way everywhere. And the reference year is the year in which the unintentionally releases occurred. It is the year for which the activity data have been collected. It is important to say that it is not the year in which the inventory is developed. The terminology is explained in much more details in Chapter 3 of the toolkit, in Chapter 3, which is related to reporting of releases. So it is very important to differentiate between the reference year and the inventory year, and also have a good understanding of the baseline year of the inventory, and then the difference between the baseline and the updated inventory. So this is much in much more details explained in the toolkit. I just would like to draw your attention to this aspect. Now I am turning to the next aspect, and this is how to fill in the format. And here you see that you can select the reference year for which you have developed the inventory. And then the system will allow you to choose the reference year and fill in the data. It is important to be careful that the table is being filled in the right year. And you can see here the year on the top of the table. The data can be filled in the table, and basically the sector split is the one which has been also used before, and it matches the toolkit sectors as they have been also available in the first edition of the toolkit. this has been not changed so that we have consistency over time. Now I would like to say a few words about the aspects of updating of the inventory for a particular reference year. For countries which are reporting their inventories under the Framework Convention of Climate Change, this is basically a quite clear and simple procedure. However, many countries are not reporting regularly, so the concept of updating of the inventory and, if necessary, also revising is a relatively new one, so I would like to go into more details on this. This is again described in more details in section 3.2 of the toolkit, and you can find the graphic I will present here also in the electronic version of the toolkit, together with a very nice voice-over guidance. So if you don't get everything from my presentation, then please go on our webpage and see in the electronic toolkit, and let the beautiful voice of our colleague to explain to you once again. So basically, when we do updating of the inventory, this begins usually with an examination of the previous, or if you don't have more than one, then of the baseline inventory, to identify what approach has been used to do the baseline or the previous inventory, including classification of the sources and emission factors used, what information sources on the activity rates to calculate the releases have been used, and also what assumptions and expert judgments have been applied to fill the gaps. In the second step, the developer of the inventory should review all changes in data since the baseline inventory, in particular by checking of factors that may influence changes over time. Such factors include, for example, economic or demographic growth, changes in technologies, in particular through phasing in BAT and BEP. And other aspects are, for example, building and reconstruction or close down of production facilities, substitution of fuels, introduction of abatement techniques, such as, for example, filters, and also identification of new sources and other things which could have occurred. These have been only examples. Then what is also very important, you have to check for revision or a revised or new emission factor in the methodology you have used. And under the Stockholm Convention, most of the parties are using the toolkit to develop their emission inventories. So of course, when the toolkit has been revised, then it is very important that the revised version of the toolkit is used to develop the emission inventory. Then the next step would be to reclassify sources according to the present situation, if necessary, of course. And for each of the sources, the activity rates for the reference year in which, according to which the inventory is developed, these have to be established and found. Again, please refer for more details in the toolkit itself. What can happen is that when you do this review of examining of the previous inventory and then review of the changes, it might happen that you identify the need to revise the baseline inventory or the previous inventories. This happens in particular when the following factors are triggering the need to revise. For example, and this is our case now, is that the toolkit emission factors have been changed and some new emission factors added. It can also happen that approach to the inventory has been changed. For example, if you have done some expert judgment or assumptions in your baseline inventory, and in the meantime you have better information, and you can improve this expert judgment, then you would need to improve also the expert judgment you have done in the baseline inventory. Another triggering aspect might be when new sources have been identified which were not included in the baseline inventory, or if you discover that you had done some mistakes in the baseline or a previous inventory and you classified sources incorrectly and you need to reclassify them, then you can of course go back to your baseline inventory and revise those, correct those issues. The revision of the initial or previous inventories would usually entail correct or adjust the previous inventory by include missing information and filling gaps. And in particular, and this is also relevant for all of us now, is to use the revised set of emission factors for calculating the releases. It is very important that the inventories over time are using the same emission factors in cases that there are no good reasons to change the emission factor because the technologies has been changed or similar. So the third step would be then to compute or calculate the releases for the new reference year. If the revision of the previous inventories aims to correct the estimates therein by including the missing information, by filling the gaps, and by using the same emission factors so that we have coherence between the years. So only after you evaluate whether you need to revise the inventory, you should start to calculate the updated releases and establish trends in releases over time. If sources are reclassified or emission factors have been revised, the new factors must be assigned accordingly. If the source classification has not changed, nor the emission factors, the same factors are applied. Releases are finally estimated by multiplying the emission factors with the corresponding activity rates. Only by maintaining all these three stages of the inventory update and revision process, we can ensure that coherent trends over time can be calculated based on comparable and consistent results over time. You will see that in the new reporting format, you are also entering information source, what methodology has been used. And most of the parties have developed their baseline inventories using the UNEP toolkit, which has been published in the year 2005. Now we have the 2013 publication of the revised version of the toolkit, and several emission factors have been changed. And this is why it will be necessary to revise those previous inventories. And you can do that right now when you will be reporting the new estimates of inventories for in the reporting in the framework of the third reporting round. So it is possible to go back to the old inventories, which you will find in the format, and do those corrections where necessary by using the emission factors in the 2013 publication. Again, in the newly published toolkit, it is made very clear which of the emission factors have been changed and which of the sectors would need to be recalculated by using those emission factors. In some cases, it is just a simple recalculation by using the old activity data and the new emission factors so that the data are consistent over time. And the new format is allowing you to edit the data and also update this information and correct it, so as necessary. Another aspect I would like to draw your attention to is reporting to other releases than dioxins and furan. In case you have this data available, then the new format is allowing report those data. What we know and what is clearly described also in the toolkit is that the formation of dioxins and furans is accompanied by releases of other unintentional POPs. And those can be, of course, minimized or eliminated by the same measures which are used to minimize or eliminate dioxins and furans. When a comprehensive inventory of dioxins and furans is elaborated, allows also to identify the priority sources and set measures and develop action plans to minimize the releases of all other unintentional POPs. It is therefore recommended for practical reasons that inventory activities are focused on dioxins and furans, as these substances are indicative of the presence of other unintentional POPs. The dioxins and furans are considered to constitute a sufficient basis also for identifying and prioritizing sources of all unintentional POPs, as well as for devising applicable control measures for all Annex C POPs and for evaluating efficacy of these measures. Again, more details are available in the toolkit section 1.1, conclusions and recommendations on the toolkit emission factors, and then also in the annex to the decision SC69, which is containing the recommendations of the toolkit expert group. with regards to this aspect. For any questions and assistance when reporting unintentional POPs data, please visit our web page, in particular the section on unintentional POPs, and also take a closer look in the electronic version of the toolkit, or please contact the Secretariat if you would need further guidance. Thank you very much for your attention.